boy, it really says something about somebody when you know that you've got to see a man's next film. And of course, you can't say that about a lot of people, but Clint Eastwood, you certainly can. If I mentioned all of the outstanding performances given by our next actor and award winner, we would literally be here all year. He is one of the most extraordinary talents in the world, and here to present Dustin Hoffman with the Hollywood Career Achievement Award, would you please welcome the Oscar-nominated star of Half Nelson, Ryan Gosling.
Hi. Okay. I'm here to discuss one of my favorite subjects, which is Mr. Dustin Hoffman. There's something written for me, but if it's okay with you, Mr. Hoffman, can I speak candidly? Is that okay? Oh. You know when you're a kid and you get crayons and paper and you start drawing just whatever you feel like, and it usually amounts to be a bunch of lines and squiggles and colors, and somebody looks at it and they go, oh, that's great. Did you do that? Honey, look at this. This is amazing. And then they put it on the fridge, you know? Well, and then you ever notice that eventually, like, the squiggly things aren't cutting it anymore, and the thing that looks like something, like if it looks like a horse or it looks like a dog, that's what makes the fridge? I think that that's like the moment of us kind of make this subconscious shift, and we stop drawing as an expression of the way that we feel, and we just kind of start trying to make the fridge, you know? And I don't know if Dustin Hoffman just didn't have a fridge, or if he just had a great mom and everything he did made the fridge. But I don't think he's ever stopped working from that place. I don't see the presence of a fridge in any of his decision-making processes, you know. And I admire him so much. I think that he is not only one of the greatest actors of all time, but he's one of the great American artists in the great tradition of artists, and who I think there are only a handful who somehow manage to, in the face of success, always stay in the state of becoming, and never give in to that feeling that's so tempting that you've arrived, that you've done it, that you've cracked it, that you're there, that you're in the party and it's smooth sailing. And he continues to challenge himself. When you look at Dustin Hoffman's work, you don't get the feeling that there's some kind of like mountain that he's climbing and he's trying to get to the precipice. It feels like he's on a road that's never ending, and the only place he hangs his hat is on his head. And all of the characters that he gives us are an amalgamation of the people that he's met along the way. He's like a journalist who is in the trenches of human behavior, and he's trying to give you an objective portrait. He editorializes a little bit in that he can't hide his affect for people. They're always affectionate portraits, because I think that he's one of the few artists that actually likes people, you know? I think of John Cassavetes, that great quote where he says, people, I love them, I just wish there were more of them. And I think that Dustin is that way. I mean, I think I like people, and then I look at Dustin's work and I realize that I don't appreciate them at all. He approaches it from such a unique place. He takes all of their faults and he starts juggling them, and he celebrates them as though he's celebrating all of our weaknesses. And this is where I think he's more than an actor, and it's more than a performance. I think that there's a philosophy behind his work, which is that we are more complicated than movies give us credit for. I think that most actors prove themselves through genre. They can do a comedy and an action and a love story. And he's like a prism. He just takes all of these genres and he filters them through himself, and it comes out as this one shining light of the genre of life. And from that place, he can do what I think very few artists can do, which is make you laugh and break your heart all at the exact same time. You know that feeling when you're laughing so hard that it's almost like you're crying, or when you're crying so hard it feels like you're laughing? That place where everything meets is the place that I think he works from. And I think that's the place that he touches us from. And I think that of that entire generation, and look, it's like the greatest all-star team cinema's ever seen. My generation is still dissecting it and trying to mimic it and mine it. Of all of those guys that were storming the castle, I think that, you know, the smoke is cleared and Dustin Hoffman is the last man standing. And he doesn't even look like he's broken a sweat. And I don't mean that to be disparaging of anyone else's work, because look, it's like Highlander, you know, there's lots of Highlanders, but they're one. And Dustin Hoffman, you're the one. You're the one. you're the one that's still waving the flag for the process and not the product. I think he said it best in that film, Finding Neverland, where he sits down next to Johnny. I know he added this line, too, and he sits down next to Johnny, and they've just had a play that's bombed. And he says, what is this that we do, this thing? I'm butchering the line, but he says, what is this that we do? And he says, Johnny says, it's a play. And he goes, that's right, it's play. It's supposed to be play. Well, the critics, they ruined it. They made it important. And I think that, you know, when I think of Dustin Hoffman, I think of Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin, and I think that there's a theme in their philosophy, which is innocence, and I think that it's a heroic act to try and maintain your innocence. And I feel like, you know, that was a time where the innocents were the heroes, and the guys with the guns were the bad guys, and somehow a place where the guys with the guns are the heroes, and the innocents are the fools. But Dustin Hoffman, to me, is like that scene with Charlie Chaplin in modern times where he's waving the flag and he has no idea there's an army of people behind him. But I'm here to say that there is an army of us behind him following his lead, and I'm honored to be in their numbers. It is the great honor of my career to date to be asked to do this, to be here to present with the Hollywood Career Achievement Award. Let's please look at an example of some of what we've been talking about, some of his great work.
That was out of line.
Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me back. Don't go.
I can't do this. We don't know anything about each other.
You think that now. You wait till tomorrow.
Today is tomorrow.
Oh, shut up, Harvey.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to present the Hollywood Career Achievement Award to Mr. Dustin Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think, if for no other reason, you should be grateful to Clint Eastwood and myself, because we were the only two to get the standing ovations. And when you're on a long plane flight, they tell you to get up and walk around, or else you could have phlebitis and have a clot go right to your heart. What time is it? Talk about going down the rabbit hole. I'd like to thank the band. And if I may, I disagree with my friend and colleague Ben Stiller, because he doesn't know what this is. It's obvious. It's the Double F Tourette Symbol Award. I'd like to thank the Hollywood press for the F Award. Thank you. Very quickly, these movies that I did, I was more than fortunate to be with really good people. You hear that constantly. But it is serendipitous to be in a film that works. You have to have the right director, the right cast, the right script, the right people, the right editor, and it has to be a certain amount of luck for a film to get off the tarmac, to fly. And if I may, if there's any reason to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award, and I resent the very name of that, I'd like to look at it as being halfway. The Menopause Award, perhaps. Anyway, by the way, we all have fantasies. We've had a lot of fantasies tonight as we were watching or not watching this show. And one that I had was, what if I died during, because it was so long, you know? And I thought on the news they said Dustin Hoffman got the Lifetime Achievement Award, but he died midway through it. And then I saw these flowers here, and I thought they could just bring me up and lay me out. And then each of you that wanted to could eulogize me and just come up. Anyways, it's a very quick fantasy. Which leads me to the point, and that is the real reason to be here to accept this award is to acknowledge the people who directed the films that I was in, particularly those that are no longer with us. And that's John Schlesinger for Midnight Cowboy and Marathon Man. It's Piet. Thank you. It's Bob Fosse for Lenny. It's Franklin Schaffner for Papillon. It's for Alan Pakula for All the President's Men. Unfortunately, the list goes on. It's Pietro Jeremy for Alfredo. And it's for Sidney Pollack, the great and wonderful Sidney Pollack for Tootsie. Thank you.